Hi, I'm Celine Perkins from Perkins Dry Goods. We're going to start out today with the Ohio Star block, which is part one of the Barn Star Sew-Along. So, the Ohio Star has 3 units. It's made of a half square triangle, a quarter square triangle, and this particular Ohio Star has a square and a square in the middle. So we're going to start with the half square triangles. I like to do the draw the line and sew on either side of it method. You may prefer a different method. So whatever works for you, you're going to take your squares. I draw a line diagonally, pairing the background with the red or whatever color you've chosen. And another suggestion I have is to, if you're not using the colors that are shown and illustrated in the pattern, make a fabric key so that it's easy for you to remember what you're calling your light, medium, and dark fabrics. So you pair the squares right sides together. You sew diagonally 1/4 of an inch from either side of the line. I don't have that cut all the way here. Do this, cut, and then you're going to be pressing to the dark. And a tip for pressing is if you put the fabric that you want to press toward on top, then when you take it to the iron, it's an automatic thing. That's the way you're going to press it. So you make 4 of these triangles, half square triangle units. I'll get this one trimmed apart. Press those, set them aside, and then part B, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to use your dark. The blue is the dark, the red is the medium. Same deal. You're going to take 2 sets, right sides together. You're going to sew down either side of the line, cut them apart, and press to the dark. All right, we're going to finish up on Unit A. Unit A is just simply a half square triangle. And since part 1 requires 2 blocks, you're going to need to make 8 of them. You'll use 4 in each block. The pattern does instruct you to trim these down to size. When I trim to size, I like to use either a block lock ruler or just actually any square ruler that has a diagonal on it. That'll let you line up the center and then trim to the size that you want. The next unit is your hourglass unit, and you start out with half square triangles, and then the way you make these is you take one of your half square triangles, you draw a diagonal line on the back across the seam, then you place the half square triangle blocks right sides together with the fabrics opposite. That'll also, if you press to the dark, your seams will nest, so it'll make it real easy to get these lined up and get it very accurate right at that cross point. The next step with this is to sew down each side and cut them apart down the middle, and then you will have 1/4 square triangle units. You will also need to trim these to size. The pattern tells you what size, and again, I like to use a ruler that has a diagonal line on it. That's probably the easiest way to do it, and I think most people have a 6.5 inch ruler, or this is a 9.5 inch is fine too. Then Unit C is the square in a square, and one of the ways there's a formula for making square in a square units, but I found that the easiest thing for me to do is to cut the center block to the size it needs to be and start with that, and then add folded corners to it. So you'll start with corners on opposite sides. I did draw a line on these squares, and I stitched just on this side of that drawn line. That gives you a little leeway, so when you fold this back, your corner edges line up. So you get this part done, and then you trim. I like to trim 1/4 of an inch. I trim both layers away. And then this will be pressed. So you press away, then you take 2 more corners, right sides together. You'll stitch, trim, and then fold back, and you will have a perfectly sized square and a square with your room for your seam allowance at each corner. Well, now we have all of our units ready to go, and it's time to put the block together. For each block you need 1 center square and a square, you need 4 1/4 square triangle blocks, and you need 4 half square triangle blocks. The center square and the 1/4 square triangles are both with the dark fabric, the corners are with the medium. The way you assemble this is really a simple 9 patch, and what will make the star points are the 1/4 square triangles that are arranged like this, and you want to make sure that the light is facing the center, and that's where you're going to get this illusion of a border around your center square. Your corner blocks are your half square triangles, and they are placed with the red or the medium fabric on the outer corner. When you sew these together, you'll sew them in rows. Row 1, row 2, row 3. Follow the pressing instructions, and then when the rows are sewn to one another, they'll nest at the seams, and it'll be pretty easy to get your points lined up, because when the seams nest, that puts them in just the right spot to match up. So that is Ohio Star block number 1.